Hello and welcome back to the Cronecast at the Rising Moon. My name is Elaine, and on this channel I do the Spirit Guide Monthly live every last Friday of the month. I hope you're able to join me. I do pick a card readings and I do astrology readings, but this is a series on how to manifest and basic 101 magic. This is not the type of magic that I practice. I practice celestial and angelic magic, and eventually I will be teaching that via a Patreon event. But this is for people who are not in a particular discipline. This is for people who are trying to manifest. One of the things that we are asked all the time when we're talking, because discovering your life's purpose and resolving your shadow work is key to manifestation. And people will constantly ask when we start talking about resolving your shadow work, dealing with your shadow self, dealing with your formative damage. Some people call it inner child healing. I basically never do. I always call it formative damage. And why? Just my personal preference, and that it's the term that makes the most sense to me. So when people have had very difficult existences, and if you have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I start laughing about it simply because it's a big list, and it's understandable why I ended up with so much work to do. I was sexually abused, I was physically abused, I was emotionally abused, I was bullied, and I was neglected, and I was abandoned, and I was in a house fire. So there's kind of a lot in my backstory that's a lot of trauma. And whenever I start outlining that, remember, it's never a contest. It's just essentially your lesson plan, the curriculum that you decided to take on in this lifetime. Whenever I'm meeting with trauma victims, and I attract a lot of trauma victims because trauma victims are incredibly powerful. And why would somebody choose such a difficult existence? That's where people get hung up. When they hear, oh, we choose our existences, you chose this path, you chose this life. It's so upsetting for people who have had very painful journeys because it sounds like, well, what, do I not like me? It has nothing to do with that. Here's what happens. First of all, when you're very, very powerful, you are likely to have chosen an existence in which you experienced an abuse of power at a young age, so that you would learn not to abuse power. And it has a tendency to break in one direction or another because we all have crossroads in life. Some people will be unable to overcome that pain and they go towards dark source and dark source and dark source, which is a destructive influence in life over the course of time. Or they will be able to heal and overcome, and they will go towards light source, which is about evolution, ascension, and essentially marrying ourselves to our divine self while working in the 3D. So why would somebody choose a difficult existence? Why would somebody come into a lifetime in which they would be abused from potentially many different angles or be afflicted in many different ways? It is because that is a pure experience. Purity of intent in magic and in manifestation and in the law of attraction is very important. My dog Puddles is in the background about to have an allergy attack. If you hear her coughing, I apologize. But purity of intent is about having pure light source or pure dark source. The purer the energy that you are working with, the bigger the manifestation, the more likely that you'll be able to keep it. Because big manifestations can come in very quickly, but they don't have the foundation that they need to be anchored in reality. And that's why sometimes slower is better in magic. We all want these big instantaneous results. That is the least likely manifestation for you to be able to keep, and it will take energy from another area of your life if you are not maintaining an energy balance. I will explain energy balances and energy exchanges and how to explain them in a different video, or how to maintain them in a different video. The reason that you would choose a difficult existence is because your soul, before ever arriving here, wanted to learn things about overcoming pain so that they could help others, overcoming trauma. If you get stuck in the recognizing that you have been victimized stage of healing, it can feel very like, I'm very afflicted. Why would anything do this to me? There is no divine presence that loves me. Your divine presence, the divine did not decide this lifetime for you. You did. And with the help of the divine, you navigate your way through it. There is a stage in healing in which you must recognize all of the ways in which you were victimized, but that is one stage. It is the first stage. The next stage is deciding how you will overcome it, how you will resolve it, how you will rise above. And that is not to shame anybody for recognizing their pain. Your pain matters. In fact, understanding your suffering can give you tremendous power over preventing it in the first going forward. And it can also, again, unadulterate from your light source any dark source energy, making you more and more powerful in your ability to manifest. But first you must heal in order to have that true power in manifestation. So if you've had a very difficult experience, the reason that you would have chosen it is because there were particular lessons that your soul was trying to learn. And here is something that's important to remember for people who've had very difficult lives. If it is at a pitched level, an accelerated and exaggerated level, that means you're much, much closer to essentially leaving behind this 3D life and ascending. Not needing to reincarnate any longer, reaching the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. That's why you would have taken on such difficult energies, is because you're actually incredibly powerful. And people don't talk about that. The people with the worst childhoods, the worst formative experiences, the ones with the most deprivation are being called upon to overcome a great deal, which means they came here with a great amount of power. Usually they get bogged down in the giant emotions that come with that much power. So you will have big, big sad, you will have big, big mad, you will have big, big everything, because that is an indication of how powerful you are. As you are resolving your shadow side, understanding this happened, it did this to me, but I'm not there any longer. The past can't hurt me. I can simply step outside of it, see it from a different perspective, understand what it did to me, informing my view of self and others and my place in this world. And when you have that knowledge, you can move forward powerfully. Your pain and suffering does matter. You are not meant to deny negativity, you are meant to understand it. Because in every single manifestation, there needs to be an energy balance. Dark source to weight it down, light source to carry it up. They exist best in a state of balance. That is part of what, and I will be doing a video on this, how to make the law of manifestation work better for you. Because there's a little flaw in the way it's being taught, and just a little one. And it'll still work, but it will be a fleeting manifestation if you do not do a series of things that will help you retain what you're trying to manifest. The reason that people choose such difficult paths, and terrible things have happened to people, is because the way their soul wanted to be challenged was to learn the lesson of overcoming that pain, that suffering, that difficulty, that obstacle to love. These are obstacles to love. Love is the greatest power in the universe. Patience allows us to manifest absolutely everything that we want. And patience is not about waiting. It's about understanding that things will happen as they are meant to. And the most powerful and potent magic can manifest over the course of years. If something comes to you in 6 months, it's going to come from a different area of your life. To try and get that balance is actually better in prosperity and abundance magic to have a slow and steady path. That's the type of magic that I've done in my own life, and it does mean that I build things as if I am building from the ground up, building a skyscraper, not building a straw hut. And that's where dark source understanding and retaining it rather than rejecting it. Understanding it means you can harness that power. And that is why you may have chosen to have so much dark suffering in your life, so that you could wield the power of it when you would overcome it, when you had understood it, when you have healed it. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a super short one, but it's a question I get asked all the time, because I'll meet people and people have so much pain. They have so much pain and they're so confused. Why would the divine do this to me? Your spirit guides do not make your choices for you. They work with your choices, and they're always trying to give you information that will help you make better ones. Nobody's doing anything to you. We live with our choices, and that's a really hard one. As I've shared in other places, I was in an abusive relationship for a very long time, and I had to heal my toxic traits in my 20s as well. I came out of a ridiculously abusive household, and we learn things. We are patterned to repeat things. Until you repair it, you will repeat it. And so that is why people sometimes feel like, well, I had a terrible childhood, and then I had a terrible marriage, and then I had terrible this. And it's until you repair it, you will repeat it. And the origin story of almost everything that you are repeating is in your formative experience. It's not just karma, and karma is not punishment. Karma is about the lessons that you did not learn in your last lifetime, and you carried them forward, almost like repeating a class. This entire existence is essentially a great big university, and we're all here as students together. Our main goal is to join with the whole, to help one another, to form We are all one. We all come from the same source. We all have something in common with every single person that we meet. Understand your own suffering, and you will begin to understand and forgive the ways in which other people act from a place of pain because they have not resolved and repaired their own trauma, their own suffering. If you have had a very difficult experience, the reason you would have chosen that is because you wanted to understand the opposite energy of the power that you are trying to possess. So if you have tremendous power, what were you trying to understand with an abusive childhood or an abusive background? You were trying to understand what true power could be used for and how to not have it misused. And so you entered this world with a misuse of power being against you, and you will also have, we all have dark source adversaries as well. If you're a being of light coming here to try and maintain the energetic balance, because dark source wants to win and light source wants to win. If you're going towards your life's purpose, going towards learning about your soul's destiny and journey, you're trying to go towards your life source. And dark source will have been trying to combat your journey the whole time. Because when you're a powerful being, light source wants you, but dark source tries to claim you. And that's the other thing. That is why it can sometimes feel like things never work out. You do have something that comes at you trying to prevent your path, to keep you from becoming powerful, so that you don't play the role that you need to within this world. But understanding is half the journey towards healing. Break it down, analyze it, understand it, and you have the building blocks of how to repair it and how to heal it. And when you have healed it, then you can harness it. When you've healed it, you can harness it. That is why so many people choose such difficult lives, so that they can have energy available to them in these big kind of, I want to say potent bursts. And that is why you have chosen an existence that challenges you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. There will be a series of these. Go towards your healing. It will increase your manifestation. You cannot skip healing, by the way. Don't try and skip it. Don't look at something and say, well, I went to an energy coder and like for 15 minutes they did something and I released all sexual trauma. That is a way to give you a boost into processing the emotions that are there. You are not just contained in a physical body. There is an energetic body all around you. You have to deal with, resolve, and kind of harness the dark source around you. Once you have understood something, you can master something. And when you can master something, you can use it to manifest, and it can fuel your magic. Thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to subscribe so you know every time I post one of these. They'll be coming fairly frequently for the next few. And if you hit the thumbs up button, you'll be participating in that energy exchange. That's an important thing. When somebody gives you something, you are meant to give back. That is part of an energy exchange. I look forward to seeing you next time.